We're back in the hangar, and in this video I want to talk about my 5 takeaways from that first flight you saw. So let's get into it. So takeaway number 1 was just how much fun it was to finally fly that thing. I mean, I only got about a half hour in it, but I'd classify it as responsive but not twitchy, and honestly pretty easy to fly. But what I keep on saying is it will take some time to learn how to fly it well. It's so much more responsive than your typical Cessna or Piper, which is great. You get great feedback. It's definitely a pilot's airplane. But looking back at the video, I found that I over-controlled it a few times. Not the fault of the airplane, just simply the loose nut behind the stick. But you know what that means? Just gotta get up there and fly it some more. And since I mentioned cameras, that takes me to point number 2. If you're gonna be flying anything, why not record the flight? It doesn't matter if you're gonna keep them to yourself or you're gonna post them on YouTube. With how much capability these little action cameras have for honestly not a lot of money, there's just so much valuable feedback and things you can learn from playing back your flights. I personally don't think it matters if you got thousands of hours or if you're a student pilot. I think all of us could learn something from looking back at those flights. I seem to remember one CFI saying something along the lines of, "A good pilot is always learning." And I definitely think the capabilities of modern cameras help with this so much. And of course, I got a link to all the cameras and equipment I use down below. So please check that out. Point number 3, you should always make some kind of plan to go along with that first flight of your aircraft. Now, I did just that. I decided everything I wanted to do, I made a list, and I even put it in a scratch pad in FlyQ. Now, at the same time, you also have to be flexible, and safety has to be paramount. In my case, I had this plan, but I was losing light in a hurry, and visibility was actually starting to come down. I was confident in my skills and limitations, and I actually felt like it'd be safer to just turn towards this airport when I did, versus waiting till later or trying to rush it at another date. So I'm still gonna have a plan for future flights, and until I get more comfortable in this thing. But I'd say one of the things I learned from that is I definitely need to make sure I leave myself some more buffer time. I thought I had plenty of time, but boy was I wrong. Now that brings us to point number 4, communication. And to be honest, I don't feel like I did enough of it. And I don't mean radio calls when I was in the pattern. I probably could have done some more of that too, but of course I goofed up on the sound recorder, so you guys didn't even get to hear any of that. But what I mean by that is people on the ground. Obviously my wife and friends of mine knew, and I had people standing by just in case anything would go wrong, but I didn't quite realize how far that would reach. After I landed here in Slatington, I actually had the airport manager from where I departed give me a call and ask me if everything was okay. I really wasn't expecting that. I'm not really sure how it even got to him. It was suspected that that was the first flight of the Sonex, and when I didn't come back, apparently that raised a few red flags, so sorry about that, guys. Now, if this had actually been the first flight ever of this airplane, then I would have definitely run it up the chain, maybe had some more people around, let local first responders know, and had a whole game plan for that. This airplane had 107 hours on it when I got it, so I really wasn't worried about anything being critically wrong right off the bat. But I guess going forward, I should take that precaution for the first flight of any project airplane. And flat out, I really appreciated his call. Like I said, I wasn't expecting that at all, and I'm glad he took the time to check in on me. Thank you. And that brings us to takeaway number 5. You always hear it when somebody makes the first flight in the airplane, and I'm no different. I do have a list of squawks to address before we fly this thing again. Just certainly nothing that affects flight safety, nothing real major, but just stuff that's easy to correct while I'm on the ground, and one less thing to worry about when I'm in the air. One thing I really want to look into is why I couldn't turn on the freaking runway lights when I was coming in here. That had the potential of making a routine landing something a little bit sketchy. Okay, this may have been a bad idea. Again, I was confident in the airplane and my abilities and my limitations, so I chose to continue the approach versus heading back to where I came. Man, 5-10 minutes later, that probably would have been a different story. Funny thing is, on the ground here, I was able to click the lights on, so I don't really understand what was going on there. There's a few other things, of course, but that might be the subject of another video. And I'm going to close with a bonus takeaway. I want to say a big thank you to the experimental and Sonex aviation communities for all your help from day one, or really even before, even before I picked this thing up. It's been quite a journey, and I definitely couldn't have done it all on my own. Thank you to everyone who ever posted online, made a video, everybody left comments and helpful suggestions, and those names should be somewhere around here right now, all up and around and about. And with that, I'm going to get to work on 541, but just know there'll be plenty more Sonex content coming your way. As always, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more videos about owning, working on, and of course, flying small airplanes, please check out our channel page and hit that subscribe button to see more from me at Less Seat Adventures.